Hi everyone, Michael Cavacini here, and it is release day for this new exciting book, Stephen King, A Complete Exploration of His Work, Life, and Influences. This is the Stephen King Ultimate Companion by Bev Vincent. So this is, just a really fascinating book, and I just wanted to show it to you. I have received an advanced digital copy of the book, but just today I got the physical copy from Amazon. So this book, what's really cool about it is coinciding with Stephen King's um, 75th birthday. So his 75th birthday is actually on September 21st, 2022. So it's very soon. And it's just wild to think about that. 75 years old. I am a huge Stephen King fan, a huge Clive Barker fan. Clive Barker's turning 70 in October. Stephen King's turning 75, I think, next week, right? I think that's when the 21st is. It's very soon. And yeah, it's just wild to think uh, that he's 75. I mean, he's got such a massive body of work. And this book by Bev Vincent, who's collaborated with Stephen King in the past, who's friends with Stephen King, is a celebration of that. So let's just flip it over and you can take a look at what's inside, what it's all about, and if you should buy it. So you can see here, it's a nice hardback book. It's also going to be available as an ebook in October. So right now that is not available. But let's read the back. So The King of Horror. Explore the evolution and influences of Stephen King's work over his nearly 50-year career and discover how the themes of his writing reflect the changing times and events within his life. Featuring archival photos and documents from King's own personal collection, this chronological history delves into the stories behind how his novels, novellas, short stories, and adaptations came to be. With critically acclaimed titles that have been turned into blockbuster sensations such as It and Carrie, King's work has stood the test of time across decades. The history of the writer's struggles, triumphs, bestsellers, lesser-known stories, collaborations, and more makes the perfect addition to any Stephen King fan's collection. Celebrate the beloved author and King of Horror with this informative and entertaining look inside King's most iconic titles and the culture they have created. So this book can be bought full price. It's $30 in the US and more out. Well, you can see it's £21. UK, $38 in Canada. But if you buy it on Amazon, you could probably save some money. And actually, speaking of that, down below is a link for you to buy this book on Amazon. So click that link, check it out, see what the current price is. It's probably going to be less than the full price. So if you're interested in buying this book, click the link down below, and you'll be able to snag a copy for yourself. But let's crack it open. I'm glad this book came in great condition, because you never know when you buy something if it's going to arrive all dinged up or what the situation is going to be. So let's take a look here to see what's inside. So here's the table of contents. So it starts off with Chapter 1. The future artist is a young man, 1950 to 1969. And they have these interludes in between. So the interlude for this chapter is the poetry of Stephen King. After that, you have Chapter 2, the Doubleday Years, 1970s. And there's two interludes, Stephen King as Richard Bachman and Welcome to Castle Rock. Chapter 3, Midas Touch, 1980s. Interlude, Dark Tower, Unseen King, and Welcome to Derry. Chapter 4 is Experimentation and Change, the 1990s. Interlude, The Accident. And Chapter 5, After the Accident, the 2000s. Interlude, The Stephen King Universe. Chapter 6, King of Crime, 2010 and beyond. And you have the conclusion, The Test of Times. And then beyond that, you have a selected bibliography, an appendix of books, and what else? Appendix of books. Well, there's multiple. Appendix 1 is for books, Appendix 2, short stories and novellas, Appendix 3, adaptations, endnotes, image credits, about the author, and acknowledgments. So, all told, 239 pages. But if you want to look at the actual, content, it's probably about 220 pages, as you can see here. The paper that is printed on is nice, thick, has a semi-gloss finish to it. There's some full-page photography. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of these photographs, documents, and things like that are directly from Stephen King because Bev Vincent has worked with Stephen King. Okay, they're friends. They collaborated on this. I mean, Stephen King obviously didn't write this book, but it's not some sort of unsanctioned book. If anything, they work together to make it the best book that you can get right now to celebrate Stephen King's incredible life and career. I mean, the thing I love about Stephen King is that he could have stopped years ago. Like, when I was a kid in the 1990s, he had already had so many major hits. The Shining, It, Pet Sematary, just Carrie, all these classics that he could have just lived off of. He could have been like the Billy Joel of authors and not done a damn thing other than lived off of what he'd already produced. But instead, he just continues to produce new work. He has over, I think, 64 novels. He's written, I think, over 200 short stories. He's got more than 350 million books in print. I mean, it's just astounding. And it's really the definition of a true artist. I think anyone who has exceptional talent and a passion for what they do should never stop. They should just keep creating. Because we never know how long we're going to have to live. So you should really take advantage of that time and continue to create. Stephen King, thankfully, is one of those people. I would say he's the greatest living writer currently and the greatest writer in my lifetime. Just phenomenal, phenomenal talent. And he's a quality human being, too. If you follow him on Twitter and you're on his email list or you've ever heard him speak, you understand that he's a good human. Not only is he a talented writer, he's a good person. So yeah, the layout of this book is really interesting. I mean, you get these documents here from his personal collection. You have these boxes that kind of call out specific information. I'm very interested to see what the ebook will look like, because trying to translate all of this into ebook format, there's a few ways to go about that. You can either have a really high quality PDF type book, or you can do very text-based with images somehow formatted for that, format. So I do have that pre-ordered, so I'm very interested to see how that will translate over. But I love like this cover artwork for the books. This is throughout, pictures of him doing his thing. And I will admit, I've not read all of Stephen King's books. I have only read, however many. But that's what I love about artists such as him. The body of work is so diverse, so deep, and each of these books are so long that you can really sink your teeth into it. You can explore all the different variety of genres that he has written in. And I mean, it's not just horror. Anyone who knows Stephen King knows that he's not just horror. Yes, that's what he's known for, but there are plenty of other types of books and stories that he's written. So I look forward to exploring all that. And this book is a great way to kind of help you figure out what you should read next. But look at this. They even have a section on Derry. And here you are, short stories and novellas set in Derry. Famous people from Derry, where Derry's mentioned, like what books. That's really cool. I just love that little call out there. Misery, one of the best. I mean, not only is it a great, great story, but the movie is just fantastic, just really, really excellent. There's James Caan, rest in peace. He was a fantastic actor, and such a shame that he passed away. Well, that is quite comical. Stephen King on the cover of the Misery's Return. The Tommyknockers. I mean, there's just so much to explore here. The Dark Half. Out of curiosity, I read Rage a few years ago because I know that was a book that Stephen King took out of print because of school shootings, because a lot of kids who were doing school shootings basically, I guess, had read that book. And I anytime a book or something like that kind of gets banned or removed, I always want to know, well, what's it about? It kind of makes you more interested in it. And I read it, and I didn't think it was that bad. But hey, if he thinks he's helping the world by making that book no longer available. I guess it's his choice to do that. Personally, I think he should have just left it, but hey, what are you going to do? The Audio King. So this is all about the great audio books that Stephen King has available. If you have not listened to a Stephen King audiobook, I implore you to do so. What really hooked me on him was listening to Steven Weber's narration of It on the audiobook on Audible. It is just spectacular. It's one of the greatest books I've ever listened to. And Steven Weber takes this excellent material and just elevates it to an even higher level with his performance, because he's not just reading it, he's inhabiting the roles with these distinct voices, and just really, you feel like you're listening to a play through your earbuds, or however you're choosing to listen to these audiobooks. So if you've never listened to a Stephen King book on audiobook, do it. Right now, I have been listening to Fairy Tale, Stephen King's latest novel, the audiobook, and it's terrific. It's a great book. Really enjoying it. I will review that when the time comes, but his books are always top-notch, both in written and audio form. Green Mile, another classic. So you can see this section is all about these adaptations, Bag of Bones. Hearts in Atlantis. That's one I have not read or seen. Oh yeah, the Kindle. I remember that he did that ebook novella. What is it? You Are? I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that. But I remember that the pink Kindle, and he wrote that exclusive audio or ebook for Kindle. Actually, recently he did an exclusive book for Scribd called Finn, which is pretty good. I enjoyed that as well. And that's the thing about Stephen King that you'll read about in this book. He's never been an old fogey. He's always embraced new technology, new ways of bringing content to people, whether it be through Creepshow, through comics, through Kindle, through Scribd, through audiobooks. He's always embraced technology as a way to reach more people and remain relevant, and he's always been relevant. Just really awesome stuff. And I do not claim to be a Stephen King aficionado, so for me, there's a lot to dig in here. And the fact that it's written by a friend of his, and that it was written, with the help of Stephen King, tells you that the quality here is going to be exceptional. And as you can see right here, it is. I mean, just visually speaking, a lot of love and care went into this. Yeah, the photography is just really cool. King of Crime. This is an excellent book. Actually, the miniseries that they turned this into, really good. Watch it. If you've not seen it, it is a real treat. I believe it's on Hulu, if you have access to that. Dr. Sleep. I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was wonderful. Very well done. I've not seen the director's cut, so I would have to check that out. I recently picked up Bizarre Bad Dreams, so I have to check that out. But I enjoy short stories. Like I said, I'm a Clive Barker fan. Clive Barker obviously wrote the Books of Blood, and he's an exceptional talent. And Stephen King is a big fan of Clive Barker as well. So, yeah. I like writing in all forms. Doesn't necessarily always have to be a novel or some sort of long-form story. Short stories can serve their purpose and be really exceptional, and actually it can require a lot of skill and craft to be able to pull off a short story and make it feel complete and satisfying. And then here's the last part, conclusion, the test of time. There's Stephen King with a book. I always remember him talking about how a book is such an affordable piece of entertainment, right? I mean, look how tiny that is. You can just tuck that in your back pocket, and you've got hours of entertainment for a very small amount of money. And he always talks about the idea of, why wouldn't you always have a book on you? And now with technology, you can have thousands of them. Here's the selected bibliography, the appendix, books by Stephen King, short stories and novellas. Look at all that. Wild. Adaptations, and the endnotes, because there are a ton of notes throughout this book, and here are all the endnotes to show the reader exactly what was cited throughout this lovely book. Acknowledgements about the authors. So for those of you who are curious, who the heck is Bev Vincent? In case you're not familiar, Bev Vincent is a contributing editor with Cemetery Dance magazine, where he's been writing the column Stephen King, News from the Dead Zone, since 2001. He's a two-time Bram Stoker Award nominee and has also been nominated for the Edgar ITW Thriller and Ignitus Awards. In addition to this book, he's the author of The Road to the Dark Tower and The Dark Tower Companion, and co-editor of Flight or Fright with Stephen King. He's also published over 100 short stories, dozens of essays, and hundreds of book reviews. His screenplay for The Dollar Baby film Stephen King's Gotham Cafe, co-written with two other writers, was named Best Adaptation at the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival in 2004. And you can check him out at bevvincent.com. So, yeah, Bev Vincent knows his stuff. And this is really just a fantastic book. Yeah, so for the price, I mean, if you're looking for, we're heading into spooky season, right? It's September as I film this. Halloween is very soon. Stephen King's 75th birthday is coming up. If you are looking for a way to celebrate all things spooky, all things Stephen King, then Stephen King, The Ultimate Companion, a complete exploration of his work, life, and influences is just an excellent way to do that. So if you do want to pick up a copy of this book, again, click down below. There'll be a link there for you to check it out on Amazon. Let me know, are you a big Stephen King fan? Have you bought this book? Will you buy this book? Once you've had a chance to read it, come back. Let me know your thoughts. Did you enjoy it? Is this exactly what you were looking for? What surprised you and delighted you? Anything in particular that you got out of this that you didn't expect to? Or is there anything that you think is missing that should be included? Feel free to share any and all thoughts that you have related to this book and related to Stephen King down below. And thank you again for liking, subscribing, and sharing this with all of your friends and family. I really do appreciate it. So have a fantastic day. Happy reading. I will be talking to you all very soon. Take care.